things that we notice about this list is that we have everything under the sun and from opposite poles sometimes, right? We have group singing and we have silence. Remember that thing I said about diversity? Where 2 or 3 are gathered, there will be diversity. This is where we begin to see it. It shows up. What touches one person is not necessarily what touches another person. How do we deal with that? Well, I think we deal with that by talking about it and getting some tools and understanding why it is that that happens to us. For those of you in education will know this theory. Multiple intelligences theory, Howard Gardner. It's been around forever and a day, I know. But, friends, we haven't often talked about it in relationship to our rituals. So I just want us to take a look at it and see what we can learn about our worship. So Howard Gardner, a cognitive scientist who said, you know, we often test for intelligence in verbal linguistic ways, but that's not the only way that we are intelligent. People are intelligent in different ways. In fact, we have different parts of the brain that some are more developed than others, and we learn to express ourselves in different ways, and so we have to pay attention to that. So some of us are verbal linguistic intelligences. Words are important to us. That's how we get the message. For those who are more attuned to verbal linguistic, it may be that the spoken message is the high point of worship. And that's the way it's going to be. That's the way it is. That's what we're tuned into. But not all of us are verbal linguistic intelligences. Some of us are more musical, and of course we're going to have a much more affinity and care more about what's going on musically in the service. Logical, mathematical, these are the folks who can see the connections between things, and if, you know, some spoken word at the beginning carries a sort of theme that gets played out in the music, and then the message is about it, it's like, oh yeah, that's really satisfying, right? Some of us are more visual spatial. So a room that never changes in color or lighting or arrangement, that could be boring to us, right? It's a different kind of vantage point looking at the service. Some of us are more bodily kinesthetic. What we do carries a lot of weight. If we do a ritual action, that's something that really we're tuned into. So we're gonna respond to worship in different ways based on our makeup of the way that our brains are firing off. It's just simply physiological in some ways, right? So I want you to talk to your neighbor again just for a short minute. You're going to be a combination of these things. No one is just one, right? You're going to be a combination, but you're going to fall more heavily into some than others. This is not a scientific based survey. It's just reflection, right? So reflect on 2 things. One is, where do you see yourself on this? What are your affinities? Where do you think your intelligences lie? And number 2, in your services of worship, who are you including and who are you excluding? Because your expression does more of one thing and not very much of another thing. See where I'm at? So just those 2 things, personal reflection and then a little bit of analysis about your worship or what you wish your worship would do. Okay, ready, go.